Hello everyone, and my name is Mr. Hall, and today we are going to talk about the central idea or the main idea in a text. The central or main idea is what the text is mostly about. As we read today, I want you to think about what the story is mostly about. We are going to read the story called Tops and Bottoms. A very, very interesting story. Sit back and let's find out what Tops and Bottoms is about. Once upon a time, there lived a very lazy bear who had lots of money and lots of land. His father had been a hard worker and a smart business bear. He had given all of his wealth to his son, but all Bear wanted to do was sleep. Not far down the road lived a hare. Although Hare was clever, he sometimes got into trouble. He had once owned land too, but now he had nothing. He had lost a risky bet with the tortoise and sold all of his land to Bear to pay off the debt. Hare and his family were in very bad shape. "The children are so hungry, Father Hare. We must think of something," Mrs. Hare cried one day. So Hare and Mrs. Hare put their heads together and cooked up a plan. I wonder what that plan is going to be. We know that the bear is very lazy, he sleeps all day, and the hare does a lot of hard work, but they're in really bad shape, meaning that they don't have a lot of money. The next day, the hare hopped down the road to Bear's house. Bear, of course, was asleep. "Hello, Bear, wake up, it's your neighbor Hare, and I have an idea." Bear opened one eye and grunted. "Ugh. We can be business partners," Hare said. "All we need is this field right here in front of your house. I'll do the hard work of planting and harvesting, and we can split the profit right down the middle." "Yes, sir, Bear. We're in this together. I'll work and you sleep." "Huh?" said the bear. "So what will it be, Bear?" asked Hare. "The top half or the bottom half? It's up to you. Tops or bottoms?" Let's see," Bear said with a yawn. "I'll take the top half." Hare, "Right, tops." Hare smiled. "It's a done deal, Bear." So the bear is going to take the top parts of this plant. Let's figure out what happens. So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. Hare planted, Mrs. Hare watered, and everyone weeded. Look at the picture. What is the bear doing? Did you say that the bear was sleeping? Why would the bear be sleeping and letting somebody else do all of the work? That's kind of suspicious in itself. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, meaning the time to pull the plants, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the tops and I get the bottoms." Hare and his family dug up the carrots, the radishes, and the beets. Hare plucked off all the tops, tossed them into a pile for Bear, and put the bottoms aside for himself. Oh my goodness, look what happened here. At the top, all the bear has are the parts that nobody wants. On the bottom, the hare has the carrots and the radishes, the good parts of the plant. I wonder how the bear is going to feel when he wakes up and sees that. Bear stared at his pile, but Hare, all of the best parts are in your half. "You chose the tops, Bear," Hare said. "Now, Hare, you've tricked me. You plant this field again, and this season I want the bottoms." Hare agreed. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Bear asleep again, and Hare's doing all the work. This time, the bear is going to get the bottom parts of the plant. Let's see what happens. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! Wake up! You get the bottoms and I get the tops." Hare and his family gathered up the lettuce, the broccoli, and the celery. He pulled off the bottoms for Bear and put the tops in his own pile. Uh-oh, Bear's still asleep. Doesn't really realize what's going on. Who has the best parts right now? Hopefully you said the hare. Bear looked at his pile and scowled. That means to give an angry look. Hare, you've cheated me again. But Bear, Hare said, you wanted the bottoms this time. Bear growled, you plant this field again, Hare. You've tricked me twice, and you owe me one season of both tops and bottoms. You're right, poor old Bear, sighed Hare. It's only fair that you get both tops and bottoms this time. It's a done deal, Bear. So now the Hare is saying that the bear is going to get both the tops and the bottoms. Do you really think that's going to happen? Or do you think that the Hare is going to trick the bear again? I wonder what's going to happen. So, what does the bear inevitably do? He goes back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded, then watered and weeded some more. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! This time you get the tops and the bottoms." There in front of Bear's house lay a high field of corn. Hare and his family yanked up every corn stalk. They tugged off the roots at the bottom and the tassels at the top and put them in a pile for Bear. Then he carefully collected the ears of corn in the middle and placed them in his own pile. Bear rubbed his eyes and watched. So Bear's up now. See, Bear, you get the tops and the bottoms. I get the middles. Yes, sir, Bear. It's a done deal. By now, the bear was wide awake. That's it, Hare, he hollered. From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops, bottoms, and the middles. Here, Hare and his family scooped up the corn and hopped down the road toward home. Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare bought back his land with the profit from the crops, and he and Mrs. Hare opened a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear learned to live happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again. The end. Let's talk a little bit about the central idea in this story. The central idea is that you should work really hard for what you want. We know this because the characters in the story showed that. The bear was very lazy and he didn't work really hard, and he trusted the hare to do his own work. So I would say that the central idea is to make sure that you always do your own work. Authors do this to us so that we can think about the text more critically. Over the next few weeks, I would like you to continue to read in your stories and figure out what the central idea is. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great week.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania for first and second graders. I'm so happy you're here today. Let's learn something new in math. Today we're going to be talking about solving 1- and 2-step word problems. All you need today is a piece of paper and a pencil. Let's go ahead and get started. First, we have our I can statement. And our I can statement says, I can solve 1- and 2-step addition and subtraction problems. So we're going to be doing exactly that today. Let's break apart the I can statement a little bit just to make it a little bit easier. I have a new fun tool that I'm going to be using today with my board. So I'm going to be working on writing on the board instead of the whiteboard behind me. So we first see that word solve. So I can solve. That basically just means to find an answer to. I've noticed my handwriting doesn't look as neat on these boards as it does on the other, but that's okay. So I can solve or find an answer to 1- and 2-step addition. We know addition is when we're putting something together, and subtraction when we're taking away. And then the problem is going to be where we're looking for some type of solution. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first, we see an anchor chart here today. I'm going to read through it with you, and it's word problem steps. So when we see a word problem, sometimes it can be really overwhelming or really challenging to really take apart what you should do first. So these are some good reminders to help us as we tackle a word problem together. So when we first start our word problem, we can go through and circle the numbers or other important parts. So we might circle the numbers, we might underline the question, box the keywords, evaluate and draw, so basically to solve, and then we're going to solve and check our problem. So let's do a really quick, easy example here today. So we have the cat had 9 toys. The dog had 5 toys. How many toys do they have in all? So let's first go through and circle those numbers. I see that the cat had 9 and the dog had 5. So we might want to underline our question. I know it's our question because it starts with that word how. They might start with why or what. And it also has a question mark at the end. So I can underline where I see my question. And then next it says to box out those keywords. So I noticed that maybe an important word or important words is in all. This is telling me whether or not I need to add or subtract. And maybe how many. That might also help us with our question. Now let's go ahead and evaluate and draw or solve. So if I have, our cat has 9 toys, maybe I just want to draw little circles to help me solve it. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the dog has 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the question is, how many toys do they have in all? So am I going to be adding or subtracting? I'm going to be adding because those words in all mean that we're going to be putting 2 numbers together. So I can just count up my drawing to help me find the answer. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I see that I have 14 toys. Now, that word problem was pretty simple. I just wanted to show you all how we can highlight some of those important pieces to help us break apart the question. Let's do one that's just a little trickier. So here's our question. As you guys can see, it's already just a little bit longer, and maybe our numbers are a little bit bigger than those numbers 5 and 9 from the first one. So here we go. The girl went to the zoo and saw 48 animals. The boy went and saw 23 more animals than the girl. How many animals did they see all together? Let's go back through and highlight some important pieces so we know exactly what we need to do in this problem. So I think the most important thing is when I look and I read, the girl went to the zoo. Is that part really important for us to find the answer? Not really. It helps add to our story, helps us have a mental picture of what we're trying to solve. But if they took that part out, it's not going to change whether or not this is addition or a subtraction problem. So I keep reading and I say, and saw 48 animals. So I know that 48 animals, that's going to be important, right? It's a number. It's identifying a part of our word problem. Then we have the boy went and saw 23 more animals. Okay, well, I'm going to circle this number 23. And then I'm going to underline, I'm going to box out whatever you want to do so you remember this part, more animals than the girl. And I'm actually going to even add a part to it. I think I missed a part that I wanted to add. Then the girl, because that part's important. That he saw more animals than the girl. He didn't just see 23 animals. He saw 23 more than the girl. And we know the girl saw 48. I wonder what we're going to do there. How many animals did they see all together? Well, first let's underline that question. So that's our question that's asking us how many animals did they see all together. And then I know that word all together. I see it. It's an important one. And I know that they're telling me I need to add. Now, if I just add together the numbers 48 and 23, am I going to get the right answer? I'm not, because if I just add together 48 and 23, all that number is the number of animals that the boy saw. So we do need to do that as part of our problem, but that's not going to answer the question of how many they saw all together. So what they want us to do is we need to find out first how many animals the boy saw. Then we can take what the animals the boy saw and the animals that the girl saw and put those two together to get the answer to the question. All right, let's get started. So first, I'm going to take 48, which is how many animals the girl saw, plus 23. I'm adding these two numbers together because we know that the boy saw 23 more animals than the girl. All right, I'm going to use my expanded form method for this one. So I break apart the number 48 to 40 plus 8, and I break apart 23 to 20 plus 3. Now I can take it, I see that 8 plus 3 is 11, 40 plus 20 is 60. And I want to break apart that number 11 one more time to help me find this answer. So I still have that number 60. Let's put the number 11 in expanded form. Does anyone remember how we put the number 11 in expanded form? Here we're going to take 10 plus 1 because there's a 1 in the tens place and a 1 in the ones place. This way we now can take 60 plus 10, which is 70, and squish that 1 into the ones place, and we have 71. So what is this number 71? This number 71 is how many animals that the boy saw. So right here, we now have a part of the problem that we need to be able to find the answer. So what number am I going to add to 71 to get this answer to the question of how many animals did they see all together? I'm going to take 71 plus 48. The question already told us that the girl saw 48 animals. So we already know that part. So I'm going to take 48 plus 71 to get our answer. I'm going to clear off the board. And I'm now going to take 71 plus 48. Remember, 71 is how many animals the boy saw. And 48 is how many animals the girl saw. Let's do this in expanded form as well. So I'm going to break apart that first number, 71. I'm going to break it apart into 70 plus 1. Now I'm going to break apart the number 48. So I have 40 plus 8. Now I can go ahead and add my two numbers together. Should I start in the tens place or in the ones place? Always the ones place. 1 plus 8 is 9. Then we have 70 plus 40. Well, I know 0, 0, 0. But 7 plus 4, that is 11. So I come down here and I have my answer 11, but I can't leave my 0 hanging. I got to bring it down. So my answer is 110 plus 9. I can just squish that together to get my final answer. Because right here I have a 0 in the ones place, my 9 in the ones place, so when I squish it together, it becomes 119. So how many animals did they see all together? They see 119 animals. All right, go ahead and get out that piece of paper and let's try one together. Here we go. The teacher had 146 pieces of candy. She gave 58 pieces of candy to Sergio. Then she gave 23 pieces to Jaslyn. How many pieces of candy does she have left? Okay, let's figure this out. Let's go back and circle and underline those important parts. So I see that we have 146 pieces of candy. I'm going to go ahead and circle that number. I know that's going to be important. Then she gave 58 pieces of candy to Sergio. Okay, I know that part's going to be important as well. Then she gave 23 pieces to Jaslyn. How many pieces of candy does she have left? So she started with this number, she gave some away, and then she gave some more away. So I know that I'm not going to be able to do this with just a one-step problem. We're going to have to subtract more than once. I know that we're subtracting because of this word left. I know that that means she gave some away. Also, there are some clues in our problem that help us know it's subtraction as well. By saying she gave pieces, right? We know that she's giving things away. So things are being taken away from that bigger number. Where should we start? Well, we need to start with this biggest number. This is that number she started with. So she started with 146. What's the first thing I should subtract? Yeah, that number 58. This is the number 58. That's the first amount of candy that she gave away. So help me solve the problem 146 minus 58. I think we should do this problem with the place value chart. So I'm going to use a different color because why not? And I'm going to quickly draw my hundreds, tens, and ones place to help me solve this subtraction problem. So I see that I have 146. There are 6 ones. 4, 5, 6. How many tens do I need to draw for the number 146? That's right, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last one is our hundreds place, and I see a 1. So I just have 100. Now I'm taking away. So I'm not going to add that number 58 to my place value chart. I got to take it away. So I know I need to take away 8 from my ones place. But I can't because I only have 6. So I need to borrow or move or regroup from the tens column. So I take one of my groups of 10 and I move it over here. If I move a group of 10 into the ones place, how many ones does it become? 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now can I take away 8? Absolutely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when I count up how many I have left, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know I can go ahead and bring that 8 over to my ones column. Now for my tens column, I only have 3 left, and it needs me to take away 5. Well, I'm going to need to borrow or regroup or take from my hundreds column. So I'm going to take this group of 100, and I'm going to move it to my tens column. How many tens are in one group of 100? 10. It's always that lucky number 10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I can take away 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, he's no longer in this group, so I don't need to X him out or count him because he's gone. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now we have 88. So when she had 146, she gave 58 of them to Sergio. Now she has 88 pieces of candy. But is that the answer to the question? No. The answer to the question is asking how many pieces of candy she has left after she's given them out to Sergio and Jaslyn. So now I need to take 23 away from 88. So let's solve that subtraction problem right now. So we have 88 pieces of candy right now. She still gave 23 away to Jaslyn. I only need to use a tens and a ones chart for this because there's no hundreds place. I put the number 88, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tens, and 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to take away my ones column. I can take away 3 ones. 1, 2, 3. I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. And I can take away 2 from my tens column. And I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. So how many pieces of candy does she have left? She has 65 pieces after she gave them away to both Sergio and Jaslyn. All right, nice job. Thanks for doing that along with me. Okay, now, of course, it would not be Math Mania without the challenge question. So have your piece of paper and pencil ready, and I want you to write down the important pieces that you need to be able to solve this week's challenge question. So our challenge question, of course, is about Rosie, my dog. Couldn't be about anyone else. So here we go. I gave Rosie 38 tennis balls on Saturday. On Sunday, Ben gave Rosie 17 more tennis balls. She destroyed 9 tennis balls, which is true. She destroys tennis balls all the time. How many tennis balls does she have left? She was given so many, but then she still destroyed some. So now we don't know how many tennis balls she has left. Let's go ahead and highlight those important parts to help you solve this problem. Well, I gave Rosie 38. So she started with 38 tennis balls. But then Ben gave her 17 more. So she got more tennis balls. When we hear that word more, am I going to be adding or subtracting? I'm going to be adding. So if we think about to find out how many tennis balls she got from Ben and I, we're going to need to add 17 to 38 to find out how many tennis balls she had. But that's not the answer to our question, because what did Rosie do? She destroyed 9 tennis balls. She does that. So how many tennis balls does she have left? So how are we going to figure this out? Well, we need to not forget that we need to add to find out how many tennis balls she started with. So we're going to be adding 38 plus that 17 that she received on the next day. But the question is, how many does she have left? So that word left is reminding me that I need to subtract. Well, what am I exactly subtracting to find the answer? How many tennis balls did she destroy? 9. So once we add our two numbers together, you can then take this number and subtract it by 9 to find out how many tennis balls Rosie has left. Good luck. I can't wait to hear how many balls she has left because they're all over. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something new. My name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania.
Hello and welcome back to first and second grade science with me, Miss Allen. Today marks our final episode together. I have loved learning about the world around us with you the past few weeks. Today we're going to do a little review over what we have already learned. We'll also do a final project together, and you'll need about 10 pieces of blank paper, writing utensils, and scissors. If you don't have those materials with you today, that is okay. You can find this episode on YouTube later and do the project then. On our very first time together, we learned about something called our cosmic address. Each week we took a small part of that address and learned a little bit more about it. Today we're going to hear the cosmic address story one more time and then make our own cosmic address book to go along with it. Just as I did in our first episode, I'm going to tell you our cosmic story one more time. So find a comfortable space in your seat, relax, and get ready to listen.
Imagine yourself in deep, dark space. The space is darker than the darkest night, and it goes on in all directions forever and ever. Imagine that you are moving through this space, and ahead you see light. As you get closer, you see that the light is coming from a cluster of millions of stars. The stars are clustered together in the shape of a spiral. This is the Milky Way Galaxy. There is one particular star in this galaxy, and if you move closer to it, you will see that it is our sun with planets in orbit around it. One of those planets is just the right distance away from the sun so that it does not get too hot or too cold to support life. That planet is our Earth. The Earth has water and large areas of land called continents. One of these continents is North America. Within North America is a country called the United States of America. One of the states within this country is called Missouri. Inside the state of Missouri is a city called Kansas City. Within the city of Kansas City is a street where your home or your school is located. Inside that building is you, a child. You are one of more than 7 billion people on this planet, an individual who is unique. Inside of you are atoms, which are the building blocks of all things on our planet and in our universe. They contain energy, the stuff that holds the universe together.
Now that we've heard our cosmic story one more time, we're going to make our own cosmic address booklet so that you can tell this story or read it on your own. So you can grab your paper, your colored pencils, markers, crayons, whatever writing materials you'd like to use, and your scissors.
Now we're going to make our cosmic address book. We're going to make a page for each level of our cosmic address. Just as our cosmic address starts very far away from us and then gradually gets closer, we are going to start with the biggest page of our book and then make each page a little smaller until we end with the smallest page. I made my book ahead of time because I do not have time to show you the whole process of me making the book. This will be quicker than giving you enough time to make it along with me, so you can watch now and then follow along on YouTube later and pause after each page to then make it yourself. The first book page that we're going to make is the page for our Milky Way Galaxy. So you can think about, what does the Milky Way Galaxy look like? We know that it's a cluster of millions of stars. So you can pause the video now and write Milky Way Galaxy and then draw your Milky Way Galaxy on your biggest page. Our next page, I'm going to cut a circle that's a tiny bit smaller than my big Milky Way Galaxy page. On this page, I'm going to set it on top of my Milky Way. See how it's a little smaller? And I'm going to write the solar system. As we go in from the Milky Way Galaxy, we have the solar system, a system of planets that orbit around the sun, the solar system. I'm going to cut out a page a little bit smaller than the solar system to make our planet, Earth. We learned a lot about Earth in the past few weeks. We learned about the different layers of Earth, how Earth is made up of living and non-living things, the atmosphere of Earth, and how to take care of our Earth. As you travel in closer, you'll find our continent. So I cut out a page that's smaller than my Earth page for our continent. North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Africa. Don't forget Australia. Don't forget Antarctica. We know Earth is made up of land, air, and water. That land is called continents, and we live on the continent North America. My next page is a little bit smaller because we've traveled into North America and found our country, the United States of America. Each country on our earth has a flag, and that flag represents the country. So I chose to represent the United States with the American flag. Next, I made a circle a tiny bit smaller for our state. Within the United States, we live in the state, Missouri. You could draw Missouri, or I chose to draw the state bird, which is the bluebird. I then cut out my next circle a little smaller. Within the state of Missouri, we live in a city, and that city is called Kansas City. We learned how to take care of the places that we live in and how to help the environment around us. We can take care of our city by doing those things too. Kansas City. We get a little closer and we find the street where we live or the street where we go to school. My street. Within that neighborhood or on that street is a building where you live in your home or a building where you go to school. I wrote my school and drew a picture of my school. And then finally, my last page is me and the energy inside of me. So we have traveled from the Milky Way Galaxy to our solar system, to Earth, North America, the United States of America, Missouri, Kansas City, my street or my neighborhood,
my school or my home, and myself. So after you've made your pages, you can staple it or pin it at the top to make your cosmic address book. You can share this with someone else and have this to keep with you. Thanks so much for joining me this week and all the weeks before. See you soon.
Ni hao. Hello, welcome to our Chinese class. 欢迎学汉语，欢迎。This is Miss Yang, and this is the Chinese lesson for grade 1 and grade 2 student. Today, we are going to go over part of the body in Chinese, and you're able to understand and answer some questions about appearance in Chinese. What you will need today is a notebook and a pencil if you need to take note. Okay, let's get ready to learn. Let's see our can-do statement for today. 我可以 1. I can identify parts of the body in Chinese. 2. I can understand descriptive words for a person. 3. I can understand and answer questions about appearance in Chinese. 请听我说，请听我说。嘴巴，嘴巴。头，头，头发，头发。脸，脸。手，手。脚，脚。腿，腿。眼睛，眼睛。耳朵，耳朵。鼻子，鼻子。Great! Now, 请跟我说，请跟我说。Please say with me. 嘴巴，嘴巴。头，头，头发，头发。脸，脸。手，手。脚，脚。腿，腿。眼睛，眼睛。耳朵，耳朵。鼻子，鼻子。嘴巴，嘴巴。Great! Now, please point and say with 杨老师。头，请指一指你的头。非常好。头发，请指一指你的头发。非常好。脸，请指一指你的脸。非常好。手，请指一指你的手。脚，请指一指你的脚。腿，请指一指你的腿。眼睛，请指一指你的眼睛。耳朵，请指一指你的耳朵。 鼻子，请指一指你的鼻子。嘴巴，请指一指你的嘴巴。非常好，非常好。Now, let's play a game. Point and say. 指一指。The first round. Point to the part of your body named by 杨老师。Second round. Name the part of the body point out by the 杨老师。准备好了吗？指一指。Are you ready? Now let's try. 嘴巴，嘴巴，很好。Please point. 请指一指你的头发，头发，非常好。请指一指你的手，手，手，非常好。请指一指你的眼睛，眼睛，眼睛，非常好。请指一指你的耳朵，耳朵，非常好。请指一指你的鼻子，鼻子，非常好。Now, Miss Yang going to point and you say it. Ready? 准备好了吗？这是头发。这是什么？这是鼻子。这是什么？这是耳朵，耳朵。这是什么？这是杨老师的眼睛，眼睛。这是杨老师的嘴巴，嘴巴。非常好。Now, let's see some descriptive words when we talk about a person's appearance. 请听我说，长，短，非常长，很长，不太长，非常短，很短，不太短。他的头发长吗？他的头发很长。他的头发短吗？他的头发很短。他的腿长吗？他的腿很长。他的腿短吗？他的腿很短。他的鼻子长吗？他的鼻子很长。他的鼻子短吗？他的鼻子很短。大，小，非常大，很大，不太大，非常小，很小，不太小。他的嘴巴大吗？他的嘴巴很大。他的嘴巴小吗？他的嘴巴很小。手，他的手大吗？他的手很大。 他的手大吗？他的手很小。眼睛，他的眼睛很大。他的眼睛很小。头，他的头很大。他的头很小。Great. Now, please say with 杨老师. Let's say together. 头发，他的头发很长。他的头发很短。Great. 腿，他的腿很长。他的腿很短。鼻子，他的鼻子很长。他的鼻子很短。大，小，他的嘴巴很大。他的嘴巴很小。手，他的手很大。他的手很小。Excellent. Let's see our assignment for this week. Please create your own animal and describe it. Describe with 他的眼睛大吗？很大。他的鼻子怎么样？他的鼻子很小，很大。他的耳朵大吗？他的腿长吗？他的腿很长，他的腿很短。Great! That concludes our lesson for today. It has been my pleasure having you in the class. This is Miss Yang. I hope you enjoy learning Chinese with me. 再见，再见。
Hotep Scholars, I'm Professor Horton, and this is STEM for 2nd grade. We've been talking all about matter. We said that matter has 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. We said that solid is matter that has both size and shape. Liquid is matter that has size but no shape. And gas is matter that has no size and no shape. Last class, we took a look at an experiment called Dancing Raisins, where we watched raisins, we observed raisins in 2 different jars. One jar had water in it, the other jar had Sprite in it, and the jar with the Sprite in it raised the raisins to the top, and when the raisins got to the top, they fell back down again. In our observation, we learned that the reason that the raisins were rising to the top was not because they gained some sort of magical power, but because they were covered in little bubbles. And we said that the best way to observe matter when it is in the state of gas is with bubbles. So with today's experiment, we're going to look at an amazing recipe for making a bubble solution that you can do at home. So join me in the lab when we learn to create our own homemade bubbles. Okay, scholars, for today's lab experiment, you will need Dawn, sugar, 1 tablespoon, and a 1 cup to measure out your ingredients. You will also need something to pour the water into and a large mixing bowl. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is pour 1/2 of a cup of hot water into our small mixing jar. You could use a small mixing cup, anything that is separate from the large mixing bowl. Keep in mind that because we're using hot water, once again, you'll still need your parents' permission and their assistance. You'll probably want to go ahead and let them pour the hot water. The water just needs to be hot. It does not need to be boiling. All right, so we're going to first use our 1/2 of a cup scoop to measure out 1/2 cup of hot water. We're going to pour that water into our jar. There we go. I went ahead and poured it in. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the 1 tablespoon, and we're going to get 1 tablespoon of sugar. We're going to go ahead and mix in 1 tablespoon of sugar into the water. There we go. You'll also need something to stir this with, so I'm using a spoon, but anything that you can use to mix it up. There we go. And keep stirring until you no longer see the sugar. So we just want sugar water. All right. Then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to pour that warm sugar water into the 1 cup of lukewarm water. So in this bowl is 1 cup of lukewarm water. That's room temperature water. Doesn't need to be cold, it doesn't need to be hot, but it does need to be room temperature. So that's already in our mixing bowl. And now we're going to pour in the sugar water that we just mixed up. There we go. You can give it a quick stir just to make sure that it's mixed well. And the final thing that we're going to do is we're going to mix in that 1/2 of a cup of the Dawn dishwashing liquid. So I'm going to go ahead and measure it out. Remember, this is the 1/2 of a cup. Great. And then we're just going to pour it into our mixing bowl. Try to get as much of it out as you can to keep our measure accurate. And once again, we're just going to mix it up to make sure that everything is mixed well. So the bubbles are actually made with the dishwashing liquid and the water. But in order to make sure that our bubbles last longer, we needed a binding agent, and that's gonna help the bubbles, when we blow the bubbles, that's gonna make sure that they don't pop as fast. All right, so next I'm just going to go ahead and use our hands to blow the bubbles. So I usually try to get it nice and soapy. And then if you make, there we go. If you make your fingers like the OK sign, it makes a complete circle. And if I'll move this bowl out the way, there we go. When you blow, you start to get a bubble. So let me go ahead and skip to the part where I move it to the side. There we go. There we go. We're starting to get some nice bubbles. Now remember that we use that sugar water to create as a binding agent so that they didn't pop as quickly. So if you find that your bubbles are not lasting very long, it's okay to mix up a little more of that sugar water into the warm mixture, and then add it into this solution. All right, scholars. So go ahead and try this at home. Once again, do not forget to make sure that you have your parents' permission. You need their permission as well as their assistance. Also, go ahead and document your experiment in your launch log so that you never forget this recipe. Now remember, for this recipe, you need 2 tablespoons of sugar. You need 1/2 cup of hot water. You need 1 cup of room temperature water, and you need 1/2 cup of dishwashing liquid. Once you get it all mixed up, you're going to want to put your hands inside of the mixing bowl, and you want to make sure that the part that you are blowing the bubble from, so you're going to make the OK symbol, and you're going to want to make sure that all of your hand has the solution on it, because if the bubble hits something dry, then it'll pop. So you want to put your hands, make sure your hand gets all the way into the solution, and then form the OK symbol, and when you blow, you'll be able to have your own bubbles. Couple of other things that you can do is make your own bubble wand. So when you buy bubbles, they come with a wand, and you can do anything, you can use anything that will make a complete circle. So one thing that I've used is, once again with your parents' permission, is a wire coat hanger. You can simply bend it into a circle, and then this is great to use to dip into the solution, and then all you have to do is wave the wand and you'll get a nice large bubble. So take some time. You might even want to use your launch log to design your own bubble wands. That's a great idea. Think about different sizes and shapes and see if you can make, the largest bubble. Give it a shot. All right, scholars, that's all I have for you. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.